We're live on Instagram?
Are we live?
Excellent.
We're live, Andrew.
We're live, bud. Look at us.
Look at us. Who would have thought?
Not me.
Who would have thought?
Not me. Oh.
Delaney
Doug.
is on.
Oh,
Jeannie
perfect. They were waiting with bated breath.
Just for our arrival.
Just in time.
Bush,
just
JT
in time.
185.
Oh, perfect.
Justin Timberlake?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. I knew we had a wide-reaching audience. This is pretty
Creative
impressive. Creative
But
Jim.
it's not Creative Jim. All right, so we're ready to go on all platforms now. Is that right, Doug?
Oh,
I think
Kinsey
so.
Blevins joined.
Oh,
Gen Z.
perfect. Well, we've got a lot of questions to get through, so I'm just going to jump right in. And Jared, if anybody makes a specific remark that you want to announce or whatever, that's fine
We
with me.
better
But
introduce ourselves first.
oh, absolutely. So welcome to Saylorville students. This is our little version of Hot Ones, the show with hot questions and even hotter wings. This is a parody of a YouTube show out there called Hot Ones that
You
I've
couldn't
been.
already tell by the ripoff.
Oh
of
yeah,
the
it's a
whole
blatant
setup.
ripoff, but I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and so I'm excited to do it. And usually on the show, they interview a celebrity while eating increasingly spicier
Usually?
wings. And today we have our very own celebrity here. This is John Nemmers. Thank you for joining us today on Hot Ones.
Well, yeah, Andrew, I appreciate you having me on. You're a celebrity in my mind as well.
Thank you, bud. So John is a father of 4. He is our evangelism director here at Saylorville Church, and he's also just a incredible basketball player.
That rocks these.
Tearing it up on
Don't
the
pass.
Saylorville basketball court. It's incredible. So first of all, before we jump into the questions,
Yeah.
how are you with spicy food, John?
You know, I married a woman that is from Florida. She has no Cajun heritage in her blood, but she enjoys spicy things. And as soon as I found that out about her, I was very excited, Andrew, because I also enjoy spicy things.
That's
and
good.
I dip my toe in the old pepper of doom every once in a while myself. So we'll give it a go.
What's the pepper of doom?
I don't know. That's just I'm assuming that was one of the names on here. The pepper. No, this is garlic reaper.
Oh yeah, so that's we're saving that one for later. But
That's the hottest.
That's the hottest we're gonna venture today. But we'll get into that shortly. But we're gonna start off with something a little more classic, a little milder. Personally, I do okay with spicy food, or I should say, I used to do okay with spicy food, and then I married Jeannie, who is a Brazilian, and people think, oh, Brazilians, they love spicy food. Not always true. Brazil's a big place, and there's some people that do not love spicy food, and she is one of those. She can eat like mild salsa and be like sweating and dying. So ever since we got married, I have had very little exposure to very spicy food. And so I'm a little nervous, John.
So we've
I'm
had-
already sweating here, but what
See
else
that,
is
that's
new?
good.
The students are used to that. They're very used to that. So
We've had like the opposite experience then.
yes, that is
good.
exactly what we've had.
Getting to know you better.
So we're going to be taking some bites of wings covered in increasingly spicier sauce. We're going to start off with a classic hot sauce from Hot Ones. This, I have no idea where it ranks on the Scoville level, but it's a very tasty. I would compare it to like a Tabasco sauce sort of thing. So
Dig in.
do we want to like
Cheers.
ding our wings or
Ding, dong.
ding?
That's the coronavirus, man. I don't want to be touching your
we're
stuff.
fine.
Okay, so we don't have to eat the whole wing though, right?
You just have to take a bite. But for these early wings,
one's not bad.
I might enjoy the whole wing, you know?
No, it's not bad.
There's not a chance I'm going to finish the whole wing once we get to the garlic reaper sauce.
It's already a little hot. It's already a little cold though. I mean, not the sauce, but the wing itself.
Well, it took us a few minutes to
Yeah.
get set up.
But not
Unfortunate.
fantastic wings from Smokey D's Barbecue.
Smoky D's Barbecue. Shout out. Support your local businesses.
Even in this time of need, I'm gonna throw mine away.
Okay.
I had my towel here too.
Well done. We came prepared.
The wet towel.
So, question number 1. We've come here today to discuss some tough questions about God and His Word. but these questions could be completely irrelevant to somebody if they don't even believe that God exists. So my question for you, John, is, can we know for sure that God exists? And if so, how do you prove something like that?
Well, Andrew, that's a great question, as was this idea and these wings. Great ideas. It is a good... Oh, I almost touched my eye right there. Almost made the first mistake.
Touch your face.
Don't ever touch your face.
Not only is that bad for Corona, but if you get some of this sauce in your eye, you're blind. You're going blind for sure.
It is a good question, and I think I might surprise some people when I say, can you prove the existence of God to yourself? Yes. Can you prove the existence of God to someone else? No. I would say no. Because evidence is virtually impossible to prove, and I'll explain that here in a little bit. But the evidence that you as a Christian, or me personally, can be confident in is my own personal experience of God, and my own personal experience being my salvation and how God actually saved me and changed me. I don't have a logical explanation for what took place in my life when I was 18 years old when I became a Christian. So I was one way, and then I became a Christian, my experience with God, and I completely changed, right? And so I look at that, and I find that sometimes apologists, they'll shy away from personal experiences about God, and sometimes that's wise because you can't prove a personal experience to somebody else, right? Like you could tell me that you jumped off a building and started flying, and I wasn't there, so I couldn't disprove it, but I wouldn't believe you, right? For probably good reason.
Yeah.
So you can't really prove a personal experience to somebody else, but it's a really good evidence it's actually the only concrete evidence that you have as a Christian is your own personal life and your own personal experience of God changing, your life. And I honestly think this is huge for high schoolers specifically, just because they're about to go to university, especially the seniors, and they're about to hear a whole lot of things that may be confusing to them. And if they are Christian, I've never been one to shy away from hard questions. So when your professor or something like that is telling you something that may be contrary to your worldview, don't shy away from that. Engage in those types of questions, and at the same time, hold as an anchor, as your concrete proof, your experience of God, your salvation, to say, look, even if things are questionable right now, like I don't quite understand why God does this or what's going on here, what I do know for sure is that I was one way, and after God saved me, I'm completely different. That is the one thing that I can hold on to concretely. So can you prove it to yourself? Yes. But that being said, I think the question shouldn't be, does evidence prove the existence of God, but rather, is there evidence beyond a shadow of a doubt that would lead you to believe in God's existence, right? I mean, anybody who's watched true crime, documentaries, everybody's watched Making a Murderer and stuff like that. You always see in the courtroom, they're always trying to give you evidence to, beyond a shadow of a doubt, prove his guilt, right? So if Andrew murdered somebody and I'm trying to accuse him of murder, and I bring some evidence to the table, even if it's really good evidence, like let's say I bring your fingerprints are there and I brought a video of you shooting somebody. That's pretty good evidence. But
it could have been I could have been framed. Somebody could have tampered with the video.
That's right.
They could have planted my fingerprints there somehow. That's
right. So it's not necessarily provable, and that's what I mean by it's not necessarily provable to show somebody that God exists. But what you can do, just like in a court case, you can show the accumulative evidence to show somebody beyond a reasonable doubt that this God exists. And obviously, I wouldn't be here if I wasn't in the camp that said that, yeah, the evidence, when you look around at the world that we live in, the evidence is clearly in favor of the Christian God. And we don't obviously have time to go through all of these evidences. So I think I would be willing, if you would be willing, to hand out some resources for you guys to go through a lot of these evidences. But I think some of them that just jump off at the top of my head is like the question of how did we get here in the first place? Why is there something rather than nothing? The fine-tuning of the universe, how when you look around at the universe, it seems to be fine-tuned or designed for the existence of humanity. The question of meaning and purpose, how we know that we have purpose in this life, and really if there is no God, then you can't make sense of that. There is no ultimate purpose, because eventually everything's going to expand and cool down and disappear, and there's no purpose. It's meaningless. Morality is the same category, where if there is no moral creator standard, essentially, then you can't make sense of morality and objective rights and wrongs. You can look at Jesus and how he's the only answer to our moral problem. You can look at the resurrection, how there was a true historical figure who really rose from the dead, or at least that seems to be the case. The evidence is pointing in that direction, which that's a conundrum. Like, okay, what do you do with that? If a guy rose from the dead, that's pretty important.
Yeah.
The reliability of Scripture, textual criticism is what that's called, and how this book seems to be the way that this creator has revealed himself to humanity and is trying to get at us in certain ways to get us to understand something, essentially how we can come into a relationship with him. So at the end of the day, I would say that yes, you can be confident in the fact that God exists based upon your personal experience of God and your changed life. And then you can be confident in showing that the accumulative evidence of God's existence that we kind of just barely hit on there all points to the fact that this God really does exist. I like to think of it as, it's like atheism is coming to a court case with one shred of evidence when Christianity is kind of coming to a court case with a truckload of evidence.
Awesome. And maybe we can attach some of those resources that you were referring to in this video so that people who are interested can look a little bit more on some of those arguments for the existence of God, if that's something that interests you.